Ever wondered if you could handle life in another era? We romanticize the past, imagining ourselves as knights, princesses, or even simple villagers in a rustic, charming world. But there's one brutal reality we often overlook: the medieval winter. Let's be honest, you probably wouldn't survive it. Forget what you've seen in movies. Let's strip away the fantasy and talk about the cold, hard truth of what winter was really like in medieval Europe. Winter doesn't arrive with a grand announcement. There's no calendar date marking its beginning. It just creeps in. One day, the air feels a little heavier. The next, the sky turns a permanent, listless gray that hangs over the world for weeks, sometimes months. Then the snow starts. It doesn't fall in gentle, picturesque flurries. It falls quietly, but relentlessly. It's an endless, silent siege, blanketing the landscape, burying roads, and isolating you from the rest of the world. Imagine your home, not a cozy cottage with a crackling fire, but a structure with stone walls that seem to radiate cold. The doors are thin wood, and the windows are just small openings, maybe covered with oiled parchment or a wooden shutter that does little to stop the wind. And the wind, it never stops. It's a constant, whining presence, finding every crack, every gap, and pouring into your home like an invisible river of ice. There's no central heating, no glowing lights to fight back the gloom, no soft, thick blankets to burrow under, just the damp, penetrating chill. As night falls, the real struggle begins. The cold intensifies. It seeps up from the stone floor, crawls across the wooden furniture, and climbs the walls. It feels alive, a predator stalking you in the darkness. You huddle with your family, maybe near the small, smoky hearth, if you're lucky enough to have one and can afford the firewood. The fire offers a tiny pocket of warmth, but just a few feet away, the air is freezing. The smoke stings your eyes and lungs, a constant reminder of the inefficient ventilation. You go to sleep fully clothed, piling on every layer you own: wool tunics, leggings, maybe even your outdoor cloak. You might have a straw-stuffed mattress on the floor, but the cold finds you anyway. It settles deep into your bones, and you lie there, shivering uncontrollably, listening to the wind howl outside. And the most terrifying part, this is just the beginning. The worst is yet to come. Food, which was already a daily concern, becomes an obsession. Your survival depends entirely on what you manage to preserve during the harvest. Think salted meat, dried grains, and pickled vegetables. Fresh food is a forgotten luxury. The livestock, your most valuable assets, are also at risk. They're crammed into barns, or even parts of your own house, their body heat offering a small bit of shared warmth. But feeding them is a challenge. If the hay runs out, they starve. And if they starve, your family might be next. The monotonous diet takes its toll. Your body craves nutrients it can't get. Scurvy and other deficiency diseases become a real and present danger. Every meal is a careful calculation, stretching meager supplies to last until a thaw that seems impossibly far away. Boredom and confinement lead to a specific kind of despair, a condition they even had a name for: winter sadness. You're trapped not just by the snow, but by the crushing, psychological weight of the dark. You're on your own, battling fever and illness in a freezing, dark room, with the odds stacked against you. Roads are impassable, buried under feet of snow and ice. The only news you get is rumor and speculation. This isolation breeds suspicion and fear. Tensions rise within families cooped up together for months. Old grudges fester. The lack of social contact, the sheer monotony, can be as dangerous as the cold itself. Humans are social creatures, and being cut off from your community can break your spirit. As the weeks turn into months, your reserves dwindle. The firewood pile gets smaller every day. The grain barrel gets closer to empty. The salted meat is nearly gone. This is the hungry gap, the period in late winter and early spring before the first new crops can grow. It's the most dangerous time. Starvation is no longer a distant threat. It's a real possibility. People would be forced to eat things we'd find unimaginable: tree bark, boiled leather, and whatever roots they could dig from the frozen ground. The weak, the elderly, and the very young are the first to succumb. It's a brutal, natural selection. Every day is a fight for survival, a desperate wait for a sign of spring, for the first thaw, for the return of the sun. So, when you see a fantasy movie with characters trekking through a snowy landscape in stylish leather outfits, remember the reality. They wouldn't be looking heroic. They'd be fighting frostbite, hunger, and despair. Medieval winter wasn't a scenic backdrop. It was the main antagonist, an enemy that relentlessly tried to freeze, starve, and break you. Could you have survived it? Maybe. But it would have tested the very limits of your physical and mental endurance in ways we can barely comprehend today. It gives you a whole new appreciation for your thermostat, your electric lights, and that warm blanket on your couch, doesn't it? Stay curious and stay warm. Picture this: your life depends on your clothes, but every day they fail you. We're not talking about a fashion faux pas. We're talking about survival in the harshest conditions imaginable. Imagine pulling on clothes that are perpetually damp. They're made of heavy wool and rough, scratchy linen. During the day, as you trudge through the snow, that snow melts, seeping deep into the fabric. The cold water clings to your skin, stealing precious body heat. You feel a constant, gnawing chill that you can never escape. It's a dampness that becomes part of you. Then, night falls. The temperature plummets. The moisture trapped in your clothes doesn't just stay damp, it freezes. Your shirt, your pants, your coat, they become stiff, icy armor. Instead of providing warmth, they radiate cold. You lie down to sleep, but your own clothes are freezing you. Every movement cracks the ice in the fabric, a constant reminder of the relentless cold. There's no fire big enough to dry them completely, no shelter warm enough to offer real relief. Sleep is a battle against hypothermia, a struggle to just make it to morning. And what about your feet? Forget insulated, waterproof boots. Your shoes are nothing more than thin, worn-out leather. They might as well be made of paper. Every step in the snow is a guarantee of wet feet. Icy water leaks in through the seams, through the thin soles, soaking your socks, if you even have any. The first thing you feel is the shock of the cold, but that soon fades into a dangerous numbness. You can't feel your toes anymore. They're just distant, heavy things at the end of your legs. This numbness isn't a relief, it's a warning. It's the first sign of frostbite. Day after day of this, and the damage becomes irreversible. You might take off your shoes at night to see your toes have turned a waxy, pale color. Then they start to darken, turning blue, then purple, and finally, a dead, terrifying black. The tissue is dying. The pain, when it comes, is excruciating, burning, throbbing agony that signals the nerves are screaming their last protest before silence. It's not just your toes, your fingers, exposed to the elements as you work, suffer the same fate. Without proper gloves, they quickly lose feeling. Simple tasks become monumental challenges. You can't grip a tool, you can't tie a knot, you can't even feel the texture of the things you touch. The world becomes a muted, blurry sensation at your fingertips, like your toes. Your fingers are at constant risk of turning black and useless. In this world, there are no doctors to call. There are no clinics, no hospitals, no emergency rooms. There's no medicine to fight the infection that inevitably sets in when frostbitten tissue begins to decay. There are no painkillers to ease the agony. There's no surgeon to perform a clean amputation to save the rest of the limb. You are entirely on your own. So what do you do with the pain? What do you do with a foot that's rotting away? You have two choices. You can ignore it, pushing through the agony, because the alternative, stopping, means certain death. You learn to live with a level of pain that would send most of us into shock. It becomes a constant companion, a dull background noise to your existence. Or you simply accept it. This is your reality now. Pain is a part of life, like breathing, like the cold, like the snow. Imagine the mental toll, the constant physical misery, the visual horror of watching your own body decay, and the absolute helplessness of your situation. You see your friends, your family, suffering the same fate. Everyone has a limp, everyone has missing fingers, everyone carries the scars of winter. It's a shared trauma, a collective nightmare that you endure together. There is no one to complain to, no one who can offer a solution. Complaining is a luxury you can't afford. It uses energy you don't have. Think about the simple act of putting on your shoes in the morning. You know it means inviting the cold in. You know it means another day of potential damage to your feet. Yet you do it. Because not putting them on is not an option. This is the reality of survival when your most basic protection, your clothing, becomes your enemy. It's a slow, grinding battle against the elements where every small victory is just a delay of the inevitable. Next time you pull on a warm, dry pair of socks or slip your feet into waterproof boots, take a moment. Appreciate the incredible comfort and protection they provide. Remember this story and understand that for many throughout history, and even for some in the world today, such simple things are an unimaginable luxury. The barrier between life and a slow, painful death can be as thin as a piece of wet leather. If this story gave you a new perspective, consider liking this video and subscribing for more deep dives into the realities of survival. Stay safe and stay warm. Have you ever wondered what it was truly like to live in the Middle Ages? Forget the grand castles and noble courts for a moment. Let's step into the home of an ordinary person, a place where the vast majority of people lived and died. What you're about to hear might surprise you, and it certainly isn't the romanticized version we often see in movies. Imagine a small, single-room hut built from rough-hewn timber and wattleland daba, mixture of mud, straw, and animal dung packed into a wooden frame. This is your home. If you're slightly better off, maybe you live in a house made of stone. You might think stone sounds sturdy, protective, a barrier against the harsh elements. You'd be wrong. Stone is a cold trap. In the biting chill of winter, it doesn't keep the cold out. It absorbs it, radiating a relentless, bone-deep frostiness into the very air you breathe. Look down at your feet. There's no wooden floorboards, no cozy carpets. The floor is packed earth. If you're lucky, there's a scattering of straw or rushes thrown on top. This layer isn't just for comfort. It's there to soak up mud, animal waste. If you share your home with livestock, spilled food, and anything else that falls, it's rarely changed. So over time, it becomes a compacted, foul-smelling mat, teeming with fleas, lice, and other pests. In many homes, there's nothing on the floor at all, just cold, damp dirt. Now look for a window. You won't find any glass panes. Glass is a luxury reserved for the wealthiest, nobles, and the church. Instead, you have small openings, mere holes in the wall. These might be covered with a piece of oiled linen, a stretched animal bladder, or wooden shutters if you can afford them. These coverings do little to stop the wind and even less to let in light. Your home is a place of perpetual twilight, a gloomy, shadowy space, even in the middle of the day. In the center of this single room is the heart of the home, the hearth. But don't picture a grand, roaring fireplace with a chimney. This is just a pit in the floor, or a slightly raised clay platform where a small, smoky fire. It's your only source of heat and your only way to cook. There's no chimney to draw the smoke away. Instead, it slowly fills the room, stinging your eyes, scratching your throat, and coating every surface with a layer of greasy soot. A small hole in the thatched roof, called a louver, is supposed to let the smoke out, but it's mostly ineffective. In the winter, you're faced with an impossible choice. Open the shutters for air and freeze, or keep them closed and choke. Most people choose to choke. You live your life breathing this acrid air. The constant smoke inhalation leads to chronic respiratory problems, eye infections, and a persistent cough. Every winter is a battle against the elements fought inside your own home. The cold is a constant companion, seeping through the walls, rising from the floor, and whistling through the gaps in the shutters. You huddle as close to the meager fire as you can, wrapped in whatever woolen or fur garments you own. But the chill never truly leaves. At night, the whole family, parents, children, and sometimes even grandparents, cram together onto a single large bed. This isn't a comfortable mattress. It's a sack stuffed with straw, hay, or even leaves, laid directly on the floor or on a simple wooden frame. You share your sleeping space, not just with your family, but with the ever-present pests, The rustling in the straw isn't just you shifting in your sleep. Rats, mice, and insects are your constant bedfellows. Sleep is not a peaceful escape. It's a fitful, cold, and often itchy affair. Personal hygiene, as we know it, is non-existent. There is no running water, no bathroom, no toilet. A simple bucket in the corner serves as the chamber pot for the entire family. When it's full, its contents are simply tossed out the door into the street or a nearby ditch. Bathing is a rare event, perhaps once or twice a year, if you're lucky. Water has to be hauled by hand from a river or a communal well, and heating enough of it for a bath is a huge undertaking. The result is a population that lives with a level of dirt and grime that would be unimaginable to us today. This lack of sanitation is a breeding ground for disease. Sickness is common, and with limited understanding of medicine, a simple infection could easily become a death sentence. And what about your possessions? You own very little. A wooden chest might hold the family's few clothes. You have a couple of clay pots for cooking, a wooden spoon or two, maybe a knife. Furniture is sparse. A rough-hewn table, a couple of three-legged stools, which are more stable on the uneven floor. Everything is functional, handmade, and precious. There are no decorations, no sentimental trinkets. Your world is stripped down to the bare essentials of survival. This wasn't a life of misery for them, because it was the only life they knew. It was normal. But it was undeniably hard. It was a constant struggle against cold, darkness, hunger, and disease. The line between life and death was incredibly thin, and the home, which we think of as a sanctuary, offered only the most basic, fragile shelter from a harsh and unforgiving world. So next time you flick a light switch, turn up the thermostat, or open a window to let in the fresh air, take a moment. Remember the medieval house and the millions of people who lived their entire lives in conditions we can barely imagine. It gives you a whole new appreciation for the simple comforts we so often take for granted. In the heart of winter, when the world outside is a frozen expanse of white and gray, a different kind of cold settles in. It's a gnawing emptiness that begins deep in the belly and spreads through every limb. This is the season of hunger. Months ago, the harvest was a time of hope. We filled our cellars and larders with the bounty of the earth, a promise of sustenance to see us through the dark days. But winter has a voracious appetite. Now, as the snow piles high against the door, we look at our dwindling stores, and a quiet fear takes hold. The one-splump sacks of grain are nearly flat. The bread we bake is no longer soft and warm. It's a hard, dense thing that we must soak in water just to make it yield to our teeth. Each loaf is sliced thinner than the last, a testament to our growing desperation. The vibrant colors of summer vegetables are a distant memory. Now we have wizened potatoes, their skins wrinkled like an old man's face, and tough-skinned onions that bring tears to our eyes, not just from their sharpness, but from the reminder of how little else we have. The jars of preserved fruits and jams, once a symbol of sweetness and plenty, are now empty. Their sticky residue, a ghost of flavors we long for. The smokehouse, once heavy with cured meats, hangs nearly bare. The last strips of salted pork and dried beef are guarded like treasure. They are tough, chewy, and intensely salty, a far cry from the tender roasts of autumn. We cut them into the smallest of slivers, adding them to the pot, not for a meal, but for a memory of flavor. The real meal, if you can call it that, is the soup. Every day, the same large pot hangs over the fire. It's filled mostly with water, cloudy and thin. Into it go whatever scraps we can find. A handful of dried beans, a few withered carrots pulled from the frozen earth, the woody parts of a turnip, a scattering of barley. Some days we add a bone, boiling it for hours, until every last bit of marrow and taste has been coaxed out, leaving it white and brittle. We stir and we watch, the steam warming our faces, but offering little comfort to our stomachs. The soup is never enough. It's a temporary truce with hunger, a fleeting warmth that vanishes all too quickly, leaving us colder and emptier than before. Hunger changes the very air in our homes. It silences laughter and shortens tempers. We move slower, conserving every ounce of energy. The days, though short, feel impossibly long, marked not by the sun's position, but by the pangs in our stomachs. At night, sleep offers no escape. We dream of food, feasts of roasted chicken, mountains of fresh bread, bowls of ripe berries. We wake with the taste of ash in our mouths, the phantom meal, a cruel joke played by a starving mind. The children feel it most acutely. Their small bodies, still growing, cry out for nourishment. They don't understand rationing or conservation. They only understand the ache. They cry, a thin, weak sound that tears at our hearts. We watch them, their faces pale, their eyes large and dark in their thinning faces. And so, the adults make a silent, unspoken sacrifice. We take smaller portions. We pretend we're not hungry. A mother will push her piece of bread towards her child, saying she's already eaten her own stomach, clenching in protest. A father will drink the watery broth from the top of the pot, leaving the few solids at the bottom for his family. It is a quiet, desperate act of love, repeated in countless homes across the frozen land. We try to distract ourselves. We mend clothes, sharpen tools, tell stories by the fire. We talk of spring. We speak of the thaw, of the first green shoots that will push through the soil. We describe the taste of fresh-picked peas and the sweetness of the first wild strawberries. These stories are more than just memories. They are a lifeline. They are a promise we make to ourselves and to each other. We will endure. This hunger will not be the end of our story. But as the winter winds howl outside, sounding like a hungry wolf, it's hard to believe. Hunger is a patient predator. It wears you down, body and soul. It erodes hope. It makes you look at your neighbor's meager stores with a flicker of envy you quickly suppress. Ashamed, it turns the world into a simple, brutal equation. What can be eaten and what cannot? We are bound together by this shared suffering, a community of the hungry. We are a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, holding on through the darkest of times, fueled by the thinnest of soups and the strongest of hopes. We wait for the sun, for the thaw, for the day when the earth will once again offer up its gifts. Until then, we endure, we survive, we share what little we have, and we face the constant gnawing hunger together. This is the reality of winter, a battle fought not with swords, but with empty spoons and unwavering resolve. When winter's icy grip tightened, it wasn't just the cold you had to fear. It was what came with it. The chill seeps into your bones, day after day, week after week, slowly wearing down your body's defenses. It's like a fortress under siege, and eventually the walls begin to crumble. That's when sickness finds its way in the small, crowded spaces people huddled into for warmth. Disease spread like wildfire. A single cough in the dead of night would echo in the stillness, a chilling prelude to what might come. Soon it wouldn't be just one cough. The room would fill with a symphony of sickness, a constant, rasping reminder of everyone's shared vulnerability. You'd listen to your own family, your neighbors, and wonder whose cough would be the next to fall silent for good. Then came the fever. It arrived without warning, a sudden, searing heat that felt like an internal fire. One moment you're shivering from the cold, the next you're burning from within. Your head pounds, your body aches, and a terrifying delirium can set in. You'd drift in and out of consciousness, reality blurring with fever dreams. And in those moments, there was so little anyone could do. Imagine facing this with no understanding of germs, no concept of viruses or bacteria. There were no antibiotics waiting on a shelf, no pharmacies, no doctors who understood the true cause of your suffering. The most common treatments were based on superstition and ancient theories. They'd say the sickness came from miasma, a kind of bad air, a foul-smelling vapor rising from swamps or decaying matter. So people would hold fragrant pomanders to their noses or burn herbs, hoping to purify the air and ward off the invisible threat. Others believed sickness was a divine matter, a punishment from God for some unknown sin. If you fell ill, you might be seen as morally corrupt. Prayers and repentance were the prescribed cure. You'd lie there, weak and feverish, while people debated whether your soul was tarnished. The fear wasn't just of dying, but of being judged in your final moments. Without effective treatments, the body was left to fight on its own. People would try folk remedies passed down through generations. Herbal teas, poultices, strange concoctions of roots and leaves. Some might offer a small measure of comfort, perhaps easing a sore throat or calming a cough, but they couldn't stop a raging infection. For something like pneumonia or influenza, these were like trying to stop a flood with a bucket. Survival often came down to pure chance. Your age, your underlying strength, the quality of your meager diet, all these factors played a role. The very young and the elderly were always the most vulnerable. Their bodies simply didn't have the reserves to withstand the onslaught of a serious illness on top of the constant stress of cold and hunger. Night was the most terrifying time. You'd huddle under thin blankets, listening to the labored breathing of a loved one, praying they would make it through to the morning. Every rasp, every shallow breath was a sign of the battle being waged inside them. And sometimes the sounds would just stop. In the quiet that followed, you were afraid to check, afraid to confirm the worst. For many, the winter was their last. It was a common, tragic part of life. They wouldn't die in a dramatic, sudden way. They would simply fail to wake up one morning. The fever would break, but not in the way you'd hope. The body would finally cool, the struggle would end, and an eerie stillness would settle over them. The family would awaken to find one less person breathing in the cold morning air. There were no grand funerals, no prolonged periods of mourning as we know them. Grief was a luxury few could afford when survival demanded every ounce of their energy. The ground was frozen solid, so burial was often impossible until the spring thaw. The deceased would be wrapped in a shroud and stored in an outbuilding, a silent, frozen testament to the winter's cruelty. When you think about it, the simple act of surviving the winter was a monumental achievement. It was a victory against the cold, against starvation, and against the invisible armies of disease that marched alongside them. Every person who saw the first signs of spring was a survivor, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of overwhelming hardship. It gives you a profound appreciation for the warmth of our homes, the medicine in our cabinets, and the knowledge that protects us from the fears that once haunted the winter nights. Thank you for watching, and if you found this glimpse into the past insightful, please consider subscribing for more. Days are short, nights are endless. Here, in the heart of a medieval winter, sunlight is a fleeting visitor, gracing us for only a few precious hours. Then, the world is plunged back into a profound, suffocating darkness. For most of the day, darkness reigns supreme. We rely on flickering candles, but each one is a luxury, its tallow or beeswax costing more than many can afford. To burn a candle is to burn money. Firewood, our lifeline, is also a finite resource. It must be gathered, chopped, and rationed with extreme care. A roaring fire is a dream. A modest, controlled burn is the reality. It offers just enough light to see the vague shapes of your family, just enough warmth to keep the deepest chill at bay. So, we sit, often in silence. There isn't much to say that hasn't already been said. The day's meager tasks are done. We listen to the howling wind as it rattles the shutters and finds every crack in the wattle and dog walls. It's a constant, menacing reminder of the cold just waiting to seep in. We listen to the soft crackle and pop of the fire, each spark a tiny, momentary star in our small, dark universe. It's a sound of both comfort and anxiety, a countdown of our dwindling fuel. In this deep, the wait for morning feels like an eternity. It's a slow, patient endurance, a test of will against the overwhelming power of the long winter night. When night finally claims the last of the light, sleep offers little escape. It's less a rest and more a continuation of the struggle. We don't undress. You sleep in every layer of clothing. You own your linen shift, your woolen tunic, your thickest cloak. Removing even a single layer would be an invitation to a bone-deep cold that never truly leaves you. We huddle together, a pile of bodies seeking shared warmth. Parents, children, sometimes even a trusted servant, all crammed onto a straw-stuffed mattress on the floor. It's a desperate act of communal survival, your breath mingling with theirs, your warmth theirs, and theirs yours. But the quiet is never complete. You hear the scratching and scurrying of rats in the walls, their unseen movements, a constant, unsettling presence. Sometimes you feel a faint vibration or catch a flicker of movement in the dim firelight as one darts across the floor. They are the other inhabitants of your home, thriving in the dark and the cold. Sleep is not a peaceful journey through the night. It's a series of brief, fitful naps, constantly interrupted. The biting cold is a relentless thief, stealing your rest. You wake repeatedly, shivering, your muscles aching from the tension of trying to stay warm. You pull your cloak tighter, curl into a smaller ball, and pray for sleep to return. When you exhale, your breath forms a visible cloud in the frigid air, a ghostly plume in the near darkness of your own room. The cold is inside with you. It's inescapable. So you close your eyes and you dream. You dream of warmth, of the glorious, impossible heat of the summer sun on your skin. You dream of long, golden days, of fields ripe for harvest, of the simple joy of not being cold. You dream of sunlight, bright and brilliant, chasing away the shadows. These dreams are your only true escape, a brief mental holiday from the harsh reality of winter. But then you wake up again. The cold is still there, and the morning, with its promise of a pale, weak sun, feels impossibly far away. The night is a long, cold battle, and the only prize for surviving it is the chance to do it all again. When we think about death, we often imagine a somber ceremony, a final farewell. But in medieval winter, death was a starkly practical problem. The ground was frozen solid, like a sheet of iron. You couldn't just dig a grave. It took immense effort, chipping away at the frozen earth for hours, sometimes days, just to make a shallow resting place. More often than not, it was impossible. So, what happened to the bodies? They waited, wrapped in simple shrouds. They were stored in a shed, a barn, or a corner of the church, waiting for the thaw, sometimes for days, sometimes for weeks. Death in winter wasn't a grand, tragic event. It was quiet. It was accepted. It was expected. Winter always claimed someone, and the living could only wait alongside the dead for the ground to soften. This grim reality was just another part of the season's unforgiving nature. The air would carry the scent of wood smoke and something else, a constant, chilling reminder of mortality that hung over the village until the first signs of spring. But winter wasn't just about death. For the living, it was about waiting. Everything was about waiting. Every day, you'd watch the sun, a pale, weak disk in the gray sky, hoping it would linger just a little longer. You waited for the days to stretch, for the light to reclaim the world from the suffocating darkness. You waited for the ground to soften, not just to bury the dead, but to plant the seeds that would become your food for the next year. You waited for the warmth to seep back into your bones, to chase away the deep, gnawing chill that never seemed to leave. Life slowed to a crawl. The world outside your small hut was a frozen, silent wasteland. Inside, there was little to do but mend tools, tell stories, and conserve every last bit of energy and food. Winter was a brutal teacher. It taught patience, the kind of deep, soul-crushing patience that comes from having no other choice. It taught you how to endure suffering, how to live with hunger as a constant companion and cold as your bedfellow. Those who saw the spring were not the same people who had entered the winter. They were harder, quieter, and carried the memory of the darkness within them. They were survivors. So, why wouldn't you, a modern person, survive a winter in medieval Europe? Let's be honest, our lives are built on a foundation of comfort they couldn't even dream of. When we feel a chill, we turn up the thermostat. The concept of a home being perpetually cold, where you see your own breath indoors for months on end, is alien to us. We have light at the flick of a switch, banishing the night. They had the flickering, smoky light of a single tallow candle or the hearth fire, leaving most of their world in deep, impenetrable shadow. Imagine months where your world is only as large as the small circle of light from your fire and food. We have refrigerators, supermarkets, 24/7 access to anything we want to eat. For them, winter meant a slow, managed starvation. It was a race to make the salted meat, the dried grains, and the pickled vegetables last until the first greens of spring. There was no fresh fruit, no variety, just the same monotonous, meager rations, day after day, cold, hunger, and darkness. These weren't inconveniences. They were the absolute, inescapable realities of life for months on end. They were the three horsemen of the medieval winter apocalypse. That is why you wouldn't survive. We are creatures of warmth, light, and plenty. They were forged in the opposite. the sheer psychological and physical toll would be immense. We simply aren't built for that kind of world anymore. Thanks for watching. If you found this glimpse into the past fascinating, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more.